Fiancé caught looking for swingers on Reddit. Posted by Sweetest Analysis 3. If you like these stories and want to see more, please like and subscribe. This is grueling to type because, honestly, I'm in perpetual limbo since I've made this discovery and am struggling to come to terms with WTF I read on my fiancé's phone. My fiancé, 26, and I, 26, have been together for years and currently have a son on the way. This man does everything for me, and I maintain the house, keep up with our little one, and am having a tumultuous pregnancy. So this crap was just the icing on the cake from all the pain I've been experiencing trying to bring life to our family. Sometimes when we are intimate, we talk about fantasies that involve bringing in other people, specifically women. It's something we've gotten off to before. But it's always just been that, fantasies. Not once did I insinuate that I wanted to go about these urges, especially while enduring such a sensitive period of my life. It just goes against my values. I have no desire to actually share my lover. My fiancé struggles with porn addiction, so I feel as if these fantasies stem from him not having access to porn as he used to before he met me. I've been trying to work with him on a psychological level so he can overcome it, but for some reason, he always resorts to Reddit to look up r/slutty confessions, erotica, photos etc., which makes me more weary because these are actual users who you can message, not just some raunchy video online you can bust a nut to and then log off. But he swore to me he wouldn't message anyone, so I don't really pry into it. Fast forward to this weekend, for some reason, I felt this need to go through his Reddit account. And I know I shouldn't have. He says I crossed a boundary, and it was wrong of me. But I'm so fracking glad I did and don't even care about the line I crossed. He was replying to local swingers in our area about our wife swapping. Was personally messaging men about our situation, how he wanted more, wanted to know about local swingers. It made me physically repulsed. I was paralyzed from what I read. I realized that I was enabling these porn-brained fantasies this entire time. I'm bi, but I'm loyal. There is a stark difference. I don't think I have any questions here. I'm just hurting. I can't leave the relationship because of our kids. He promised he wouldn't message anyone, albeit they were men, and although we've talked about it, all I can gather is that he wants more sexual experience in life. That apparently, a monogamous relationship cannot provide. This situation has made me infuriated and nervous as hell for what our future holds. We both crossed boundaries, but what if I hadn't looked into it? What would he be mustering the courage to do? What if I'm just suppressing what he wants? Should I let him go? I have no way to measure his loyalty right now. I feel partially responsible for enabling this behavior, but how was I supposed to know that his fantasies were a need, not just some silly word verbiage that we used during infancy? I'm so overwhelmed. And pregnant as frack. Scared I'm procreating with someone who plans on cheating on me if he doesn't get a fix. r/rant over. And now for the top comments. I think you should be upfront and tell him how you feel. Be honest in everything and ask him for honesty as well. You do what you think is right. It's easier to stay, but believe me, your children would rather be in a happy home than mom and dad fighting. Kids know everything without us saying a word. What he did is so nasty. It's not a need. It's a want. He wants to have sex with other women, he doesn't need to. Come on now. This is your boundary, and he knows it. He's fully aware he's willingly in a monogamous relationship and even proposed. Don't give him any more excuses. He needs to own up to his BS and either get therapy for his porn addiction or decide what is important to him. And you need to not be the cool fiancé and tell him it stops now. And now for our next story. My mom cheated on my dad. Posted by Inonto Happen. Recently discovered my mom cheated on my dad with her now husband. My parents divorced when I was 4 years old. They had 2 kids, my older sister and me. My dad had said she had cheated in passing with her now husband when I was in high school, but being a teenager and not understanding much about infidelity, I didn't really pay attention to what he said. My dad died when I was 28 years, a couple of years ago. He never found anyone after my mom. In fact, although he had his own business and loved my sister and me, he always seemed so lost. I used to think that's just how he was until I learned about the affair this year. My mom used to badmouth my dad growing up, saying he was abusive. She also got with her now husband the same year my parents separated, but me being so young at the time, I had no idea what was going on. Anyway, I guess I'm just so heartbroken for my dad. He wasn't lost like I always thought, or maybe him being lost was one of the impacts of my mom's infidelity. What he really was, though, was walking around with a broken heart. That just kills me. He even said when he died, "I ruined my marriage," with tears going down his face. I should have figured it out sooner, but I didn't. It was my mom who did all the badmouthing, not him. In fact, he would address her as your mother, but she would only call him by his first name and would address her now husband to my sister and me as your dad. How messed up is that? I should have known. I wish I could hug my dad and tell him it wasn't his fault, that cheating is selfish, and if she was unhappy, she could have just left him without having to sleep with another guy. I've been cheated on before, and I know how excruciating it is. I will never understand why people do such a painful thing to someone they say they love. I will never look at or feel the same about my mother again. The same goes for her husband. He moved in on my mom and contributed to hurting my dad and now me too. I really want nothing to do with either of them. They don't know I figured it out, and I'll never tell them. They don't deserve to know why I'm going to distance myself from them moving forward. I'm writing this here because I can't tell anyone. To tell you all that cheating breaks your kids' hearts too. My dad was my best friend, and I miss him terribly every day. Now I know he was the strongest man I've ever met. He kept this pain from my sister and me our whole lives and never tried to get back at them ever. Yet my mom and her husband have walked around with this dirty secret pretending they are soulmates. No, not soulmates to me. They are evil human beings. My dad may have never found anyone, but I loved him so much, and he is forever my hero. Strongest heart I've ever seen, and I didn't even know it at the time. And now for the top comments. I'm glad that you figured out that your dad was an honorable man. And no doubt, your mom's bad-mouthing of your dad wasn't to relieve her guilty but to justify and condone her cheating in her mind. She and her AP rewrote their history to you and your sister. It is karma that you have discovered the truth and now want to distance yourself from two cheaters who broke your father's spirit and took his kids. When she is on her deathbed, she will not have regret about what she did to your father. So very painful. I am sorry for this terrible revelation. Cheaters just have no idea, or maybe they do and don't care, of the fault lines of fractured relationships that can literally move through generations of family members. Tragic. I affirm distancing. It'll give you the space to deal with and help avoid triggers. I'd also encourage therapy for you to help navigate what you're going through. Really focus on bettering yourself and healing up. Do it in your dad's honor and in memory of the good things he left in your life as a legacy. Good luck, Op. Healing and strength to you. I'm not typically an emotional guy, but this brought a tear to my eye. He knows how you feel about it, I promise. And now for our next story. Got pics of my wife entering her dad's house with another man while her dad was out of town. Posted by Mobeast12. Myself, M27, my wife, F25, and my 8-year-old stepson live with my mother-in-law while our new construction house is being built. We have lived here since March and probably won't get out till at least January. A few nights ago, I got a Facebook message from a random profile that told me my wife was cheating on me. At first, I wanted to ignore the message, but then I asked how they knew. Short of the long, it turned out to be my father-in-law's neighbor. He has security cameras all around his house. He sent me pictures of her car in the driveway with another car that I had never seen before. My father-in-law was out of town when this was happening. I can't make out the pictures too well because the quality sucks. They were in the house for about 2 hours together. So I don't know who the guy is. My wife has been pretty sketchy these last few months. She changed the passcode on her phone. She sleeps with her phone basically under her. She stopped sharing her location with me. A few major roadblocks for me using this information against her. 1. I love her son more than she does, His biological father has never been involved, and after we got married, he started calling me dad. If I were to get a divorce, I would have no right to see him, and more than likely, it would emotionally scar him for the rest of his life. 2. I live with her mom. I have a home full of belongings in her basement and nowhere to go. So what do? Play the long game. File for adoption, so I have a leg to stand on in court when we get a divorce. That way, I could have a chance to at least see my stepson. Or do I just blow the whole thing up? If this gains some traction, I will post updates. And now for the top comments. Lawyer. I wouldn't even confront. Lawyer first. Then collect as much evidence as you can. Start putting money to the side for the apartment. The good news is he's not your kid, so no child support. The bad news is you love him, and that complicates things. Also might want to plan to extract your finances from her so that the day you break it open, your money is transferred, and your finances are separated. You can negotiate visitation by offering some level of child support if the lawyer thinks it will work. If he's married, notify his wife/GF so that he feels the repercussions of the actions he took with your STBXW. These are all huge red flags, so don't immediately confront her. Doing that will give her time to cover her tracks. First step I'd advise is to talk to a lawyer about what separation would look like and start doing detective work to gather evidence just to make sure. That's step number 1. Have you noticed anything else that's different, like being more distant or just not normal? What's your say on this? Do you have a similar story? Comment below, and don't forget to like and subscribe.